I'm Joxon Frilo, professional chef and adventurer. My restaurant specialises in native produce. I'm always on the road searching for ingredients and inspiration. Oh my God, it's heavy. In some of the world's most remote communities. I've got to persuade the locals to share their unique knowledge of food with me so I can learn from their culture and create a menu that will blow the minds of my customers back home.
The flavour in your mouth just was complete.
Spain, mate. Galicia, right there, and then up to Asturias.
This week, I'm heading the coastal trail in Spain's remote northwest, exploring two distinct communities that have adapted to life in this rugged terrain and created an artisanal food culture that's totally unique.
Not your paella and tapas and all the rest of it. This is going to be totally a completely different Spanish experience.
Spain might be renowned for a vibrant molecular gastronomy movement, but little is known about the ancient culinary traditions that are still very much the most remote provinces in Spain's northwest, Asturias and Galicia. The Galicians have preserved a unique mix of Celtic, Roman and Moorish cultures and live in a rugged peninsula that was believed by the locals to be the end of the world.
I'm beginning my journey in Galicia's Coast of Death, where many a ship has met a grisly end. I'm here to explore a food culture shaped by this immense jagged terrain. It's remained relatively unchanged for thousands of years and has produced a cuisine that's unlike any other you'll find in Spain.
I'm heading to the port town of Mujia. For generations, it's been home to a thriving fishing industry that produces some of Spain's finest seafood.
Jorge, buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
Hi, mate.
My guide is Jorge Huitan, a food writer who specialises in Galician cuisine and history.
Galicia is part of Spain, but quite different. We are more kind of an Atlantic country and not a Mediterranean country like the rest of Spain. That mix between Mediterranean and oceanic influences makes Galicia so special.
Fishing is the lifeblood of the local economy. Exploring the wholesale fish market is the best way to get into the thick of the action.
You can see them all like looking at each other.
You know the art action. They are saying a price. And then a higher price. This is exactly the opposite. They say a price, and then a lower price, and then a lower price. When they reach the price you think it's fair, you stop it.
It's almost like a gentleman's agreement. It goes against the old mentality of an auction. I really like that.
But the real driving force behind Galicia's fishing trade are the local fishermen. Some of them really go out on a limb to catch the best seafood, and the most prized is a goose barnacle called percebes. Percebes is the unofficial symbol of the Galician identity and a delicacy that's unique to this part of Spain. It's a seafood that's renowned for its natural sweetness, and the locals believe they capture the essence of the sea.
You first.
Okay.
Percebes is up for grabs if you know the right fisherman to team up with, and Jorge is super connected.
How cool is this? We're capping on a fishing boat.
We're heading to a large outcrop on the infamous Coast of Death. In ancient times, pilgrims who believed this coastline to be the edge of the world would burn their clothes here and cleanse themselves in the sea.
You can hardly breathe because of the gusts of wind just going straight down your throat.
The powerful wind and waves of the Atlantic Ocean add to the area's ominous reputation. The fishermen take great risks to catch the percebes that hang off the rocks, and diners can pay more than €100 per kilogram for the biggest ones.
Gathering percebes is the most traditional of Galician things, yeah?
One of the most traditional.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But also one of the most dangerous, huh?
Yeah, certainly it is.
From the cliff edge, it's a 25-metre climb down to where the fattest percebes cling to the rocks. Every step of the way, we have to anticipate the approach of the waves to avoid getting swept off the rocks. In no time, I have my first encounter with the most surreal-looking shellfish ever.
This is what we're looking for. These Perthebes, the boys have been down here for probably a couple of hours by the look of them.
High tide will be with us in less than 2 hours, so if I'm going to get my 6 kilogram limit of Perthebes, I better get cracking.
So the brief I've been given is to try and angle these off basically with the very... That's why it's called the coast of death. It's so dangerous here. The force of it can take you over and down, trapped under the rocks. The idea anyway is using the edge of this and trying to get the Perthebes off without breaking them. That's it, right at the very edge, so you can see that colour there, not undamaged. One of the most dangerous fishing experiences that I've ever done. Can't wait to cook them and see what they taste like fresh off the rocks.
The best way to cook Perthebes is to simmer them in boiled seawater, as they're already naturally sweet. In a minute and a half, they're ready to eat.
You hold them far from you.
Yep.
And open them because they tend to spit.
These are some of the best shellfish that you'll eat in the world. Okay, risking your life maybe a little bit, you know, just a little bit. But actually it's worth it. I can see why they do it. And the fact it's so traditional. You know, the Perthebes and Galicia are like cheese and crackers. Thank you for bringing me down to meet these guys, huh? Incredible.
Perthebes aren't the only shellfish that have made Galicia a seafood mecca. The medieval town of Noia, just a short drive from Ischia, is famous for the cockles that thrive in its nutrient-rich estuaries.
Last year they picked almost 1.5 million kilos here.
1.5 million kilos, just from here?
From this beach, we are in the perfect place to pick some cockles and to cook an empanada.
An empanada?
Empanada.
What's an empanada?
Something like a British pie.
Okay.
But in a Galician version.
When cockles are in season, there's no shortage of people prospecting on the beach. Jorge scores us free advice and equipment from some friendly locals.
We are in the heart of the Rias, where the river waters flow into the sea.
Yeah.
We have very specific type of seawater, not too salty, and that's what makes that shellfish so full of flavor.
Beautiful flavour. That's when you can tell, you know, it's in beautiful, clean, pristine waters, which it obviously is here, because the flavour of them is so fresh, so clean. Let's get some more.
Cockles lay just beneath the sandy bottom of the estuary, but separating the big ones from the small ones can be a little tricky.
Per one of these, you're only getting 3, roughly?
Yeah. It's
a lot of work, huh?
Yeah.
Each cockle has to be of legal size, at least 2.5 centimetres or more.
Jorge, I've noticed that you're not doing very much.
This is a very slow and labour-intensive process. Luckily, all I need are a couple of kilos.
Yeah, it's enough. I think it's enough.
All right, nice. Let's go make this empanada.
Noia's cockle empanada recipe has hardly changed since medieval times, and Jorge is taking me to learn it from the descendant of a champion baker. Zina and her husband Maxi were famous Galician folk singers.
Welcome to
Gracias.
But the trophies in the house are of the culinary kind and belong to Zina's late mother, also known as the Queen of Empanadas. I can't think of a better qualified person to learn from, and she gets right down to business.
Okay, so we use hot water for the dough.
Escaldar la harina.
It's part of the traditional process.
In Scotland, for meat pies, they use a hot water dough as well. It's a very old, traditional recipe, actually. You don't see it very often there.
Another unusual technique is how the empanada is presented.
It's just like my gran.
Most people fold it in a crescent shape around the stuffing, but Zina prepares it like a large pie with corn flour instead of wheat.
What is that? What did you just do then?
She made a cross over the dough just to protect it.
Tradition, huh?
Yeah, pure tradition.
Yeah, no, I am going to. Yes.
Yeah, ahora va. She's the boss. You better hurry.
I have to admit, Zina runs a tight ship.
We are not fast enough.
We're not fast enough.
No.
It's like doing service back in a restaurant. Yes, chef.
Saffron is added to the fried onions before mixing in the freshly deshelled cockles and pouring them on a pie crust. It's easily a two-person job, and Jorge tells me that Zina often ropes in a sister to lend a hand.
Do Just one sister was hard enough. So are these two always cooking together?
Con mi madre, era mi madre,
Yeah.
nosotros le ayudábamos.
Ah, see, now the tag team. One sister does the bottom, the other sister does the top.
How you cover the pie can also affect how well it cooks. Too thick and it can be a raw mess inside.
A little thinner.
So that's it,
Maravilloso.
straight into the oven.
Zena's cooking the empanada in something she calls a public oven. Apparently, they date back before medieval times as low-cost shared cooking facilities, normally located in churches. It's a tradition that's still practiced at Patricio's 100-year-old bakery.
So everyone comes down here and is able to have access to this oven to cook their dinner, lunch. And if you have a look in here, there is ribs, chorizo. How cool is it? A traditional wood-fired oven. The aroma coming out of it is a mixture of the food and the smoke coming off the wood that's been burnt. It's phenomenal.
Ahí está la empanada.
The smell is incredible. Gracias. This is unlike anything that I've eaten before. What you end up with is this layer of super crunchy top, but the rest of it is so soft and so moist. It's almost like a cockle and corn puree.
Almost a pudding inside.
Yeah, actually, pudding is a good word.
No traditional meal in Galicia is complete without sharing in a queimada, or witch's brew.
It's like grappa.
It's moonshine.
Yeah.
That's not grappa.
Depending on whom you believe, it's either an ancient Celtic tradition or something that started as recent as the 50s. One thing's for sure, it's intense and consists of aruhu, a grape-based spirit with flavouring of lemon peel, sugar and coffee beans. A spell recited in the Galician tongue accompanies the drink. The goal is to purify the drink and chase away bad spirits.
Wow. You know.
It's nice though.
Yeah.
It's very pleasant. Bottoms up.
Well done.
I'm really impressed by the fresh and complex seafood flavours of Galicia, especially in this deceptively simple meal of cockle empanada with queimada. It's definitely something I can experiment with back home. Right now, I'm in the northern Spanish province of Galicia, and my guide Jorge is taking me to the town of Fonsagrada. This mountainous region is known for a centuries-old tradition of meat curing, and Jorge tells me there's an artisan smokehouse I have to see to believe.
Hola.
Tita specialises in butello, a local smoked pork dish that can take months to prepare.
This is a smokehouse. It's one of the few authentic smokehouses left.
How old is this place?
Tendrá por el año 1680 o así.
400 years.
And has there always been her family that have been smokers here?
Antes había otra pequeñita en la parte de abajo que tenía un escudo.
It's in the family since the 1650 or something like that.
You have a look at the walls, actually. The sense of the age here is incredible. Where is she buying the meat from?
They have their own animals.
Really? So you're rearing the animals, so the whole process is happening here,
exactly.
start to finish?
Yeah.
Wow.
This is as pure a farm-to-table process as you'll find. But what I'm even more fascinated with is the odd-looking sausage hanging above the smoker.
This is a butello.
This is a botello?
Yeah. This is a stomach of a pig.
Yeah, and inside?
It's filled with bones, with some skin, and with some meat, obviously.
I've never had a sausage with bones in it before.
Well, you have to try this. It's incredible.
I don't just want to try it, I want to learn how to make it.
Okay.
There are two lengthy parts to making butello. After smoking the sausage for up to 20 days, it has to boil in water for around 3 hours before serving.
Up to you, sir.
Okay.
Tita has one cooking and ready to be eaten soon, so we can relax while she gives me the crash course on how it's made.
She's going to cut some skin.
This is in there really to give a mouthfeel and a gelatinous texture, I guess, to the sausage. Besides the skin, the rib meat and bones are included. Tita seasons the pork with paprika, salt and garlic in a trough that looks like it's been in service for as long as the smokehouse.
¿Ves que es madera de castaño? Que esto no es plástico.
It is.
Has to be wood, not plastic.
It tastes different in plastic.
I agree. It's only the health and safety officers that stop us from using wood.
Yeah. And we have an artisan law here that allow to use this kind.
Really?
This kind of material.
That is fantastic. We don't have that. The mixture is stuffed into a pig's stomach, carefully massaging out any air pockets to prevent mold from forming inside. Chef and surgeon. So that's it. That's our botello, stuffed, strung and ready to be hung above the fire. The botello is cooked whole in water, but is often served like a stew.
Oh, look at that.
It smells amazing.
Yeah.
And this is the traditional way it's served. Potatoes.
Potatoes and some chickpeas.
The flavour is exceptional. Much like a chorizo a little bit. It's that sort of smoky paprika, incredibly rich. This is the bit I've been looking forward to get in a bone and just, you know, and being able to suck it, you know, like you do a steak or something.
Yeah. This kind of dish is incredible, especially for young people here in Spain, because it's practically disappearing. Having the opportunity of tasting it is something unique.
Thank you so much.
Gracias a ti, a vosotros.
After spending a great couple of days with Jorge in Galicia, I'm reluctantly saying goodbye and hiking to the secluded valleys of Asturias. I'm following this road?
Yeah.
A kingdom that fought off the Moors in the 8th century and preserved their unique ways of life. For most of the trip, I'll be following the Camino de Santiago, a 1,000-year-old pilgrimage route to the resting place of St. James. A journey people still take today to absolve themselves from their sins. My destination is a farming village in the mountains called Vermiego. Journalist Rafael Del Vigo is my guide, and his friend Eva Alvarez is kindly hosting me at her family home. ¿Cómo está?
Bien.
Like many households in Vermiego, the Alvarez family still rear lamb and farm wheat. It's a living that runs in their blood, and the intricate oreos, or dry stores, all around the village are testament to their passion and skill.
An oreo is a typical construction from Asturias to avoid animals from eating the grain. That's why they have these slides of stone, so they can go up.
The grain that's the speciality of the Alvarez family is called escanda, which we know as spelt. It's been sown in Asturias since medieval times and has a high nutritional value. They're using machines to harvest.
A mano.
Oy.
O las mesorias.
So they do it by hand, or they have another system which is 2 sticks called mesorias that you grab it and then you pull it up, getting all the grains.
Okay. In sort of 6 weeks' time, this is going to be sort of a very pale colour. It's going to have dried out quite a lot. And you can actually just break this off, rub it between your hands, and it'll separate out the husk from the grain itself. And that's the bit, obviously, that is then taken to the mill, ground down the old-fashioned way into flour. And then predominantly they're just making bread from that here, is that right?
Se puede hacer repostería también.
They can also do desserts with it.
With desserts as well?
Yeah.
Okay, and so, but the spelt bread is the most traditional, right?
Sí.
Okay. As luck would have it, Eva's mum, Milagro, is about to make fresh spelt loaves to sell in the village, so I volunteered to give her a hand.
Lo está haciendo muy bien, como si lo hubiera hecho toda la vida.
So she's saying that really good, as if he has done it all his life.
Oh, hey. When was the last time you made bread? Yeah, never. She's never made it? Never! Oh! You should take over from your mum. It's a beautiful thing to see the next generation learning the ropes. Eva is taking her first steps, but our brother Alberto is clearly a natural.
She reckons the daughter is going to give you a good kicking afterwards.
After 30 minutes of relentless kneading, the dough begins showing clear signs that it's super tight and ready for the next stage. So one of the really exciting things actually about this, I mean, not only is the flour unique,
but we're also going to cook it in this room, actually, in a wood-fired oven.
Milagro uses hazelwood for the fire, and while it reaches optimum temperature, the dough is wrapped and left to prove for about 3 hours. The dough is then carefully cut, rolled and folded before being slid into the oven. The whole process takes Milagro just a few minutes to execute.
So inside that oven is going to be super hot. Already, I can smell cooked bread. It's immediately formed a crust in the bottom of that. The result will be some of the best bread that I've tasted in a long time, I am very sure. Rafa, why does he pour it like that?
For the cider to break, and then it will have much more flavor.
Hey, that makes sense. Wow.
Juice.
That's delicious. Well, you can see on here the crust, really, you can hear it actually. It's super crispy. Huh? Beautiful crusty outside, crunchy. The spelt flour, you know, really giving a beautiful flavour. I mean, it tastes sort of farmhouse-ish, very rural, which is beautiful.
Bueno.
Cheese is fantastic. Very, very powerful, and, you know, it's actually perfect with the crusty bread.
The combination of the two is just perfect.
And the cider as well.
Only with the cider that is tops. Jog, she doesn't want to drink more, that's it.
Why not?
No. She doesn't want to get tipsy.
I don't like apple juice, ma'am.
Rafa's taking me deeper into the mountains to taste another cheesy companion to spelt bread that can be found nowhere else on Earth. We are passing through the stunning Picos de Europa, Spain's first national park. From the months of June to September, shepherds take their cattle into the valleys to make a local speciality called Gamano cheese. It's Spain's most expensive cheese, but with only a handful of craftsmen left, it's also a fast-fading tradition.
Buenos dias.
We'll be staying with a local shepherd called Enrique and his wife Pilar. They've pretty much spent most of their lives making gamano.
Bueno, sí, es un queso artesanal porque lo que es...
They say it is an artisan cheese, and they've been doing this cheese for many, many, many years, for generations. And the characteristic of this cheese is that these pastures are natural, these organic pastures.
Gamano cheese is made up of 3 different types of milk, mostly cow and sheep with a small percentage of goat. I'm told that herding the animals is the easy bit.
We have to push the sheep towards the milking area, which is down there.
Down there, okay.
Yeah.
Very well-behaved sheep, these. Very well-behaved. Sign of a good farmer, that. Colony animals, they recognise his voice straight in, just by themselves, really. They know the drill. Twice a day, they're getting milked. Perfect.
While the process for the cows is mechanised, milking the goats and sheep are more time-consuming and delicate affairs.
Por ejemplo, de 4, pues pa' 1 litro, depende.
She's saying that approximately between 4 and 5 sheep, you will get 1 liter of milk. It's not a lot, no, it's a hard work.
Yeah.
You are milking like a pro. Yeah, it's coming out, it's coming out.
That's 1 down, only another 100 to go before we can combine all the different types of milk at the creamery for processing.
So make sure that you mix it all properly.
Gamano isn't pasteurised to give it more character.
So this is the rennet?
That's the rennet.
Okay.
After a couple of hours, a solution called rennet is added to help the milk form curds. Once the curd is ready, the liquid whey is drained and you have the beginnings of cheese.
What happens now is we've got a mould in here. The mould's got holes in it, and that's just to, when they press it, it's going to let out any extra whey, which is the milky white liquid. And, which is really cool, a number for the month, a number for the day, and the initial of the shepherd. And that gets put into the bottom of the mould before it goes into the smokehouse afterwards.
In Enrique's smokehouse, the fresh cheese blocks are salted and left to mature, adding another layer of flavour and aroma.
On the top shelf here on the left, that will be about 5-6 days old. Then you move it to this part of the smoking room, and that will be about 10-12 days.
Okay. And is there a particular type of wood that he's using to smoke?
Oak and chestnut.
Oak and chestnut. Beautiful. It's probably one of the main things that makes Gammonu cheese what it is, actually, is the smoking process.
Hombre, la más importante es que el animal esté sano, que no te dé la leche malo.
So he say this is the most important stage. But also, a most important process of making this cheese is that make sure that the animal is healthy.
Fascinating to hear, and very close to my own personal beliefs and ethics of any kind of farming. Fantastic.
The smoking process may give the cheese its kick, but how Enrique ages it makes it unique to Asturias. We're transporting the cheese to a secret cave up in the mountains to age it for a further 6 months or more. It's the final stage before they go on sale.
Wow, this would be the caves then.
There's a long way up, it's a long way down also. It's about 15 meters deep.
And the boys are just lowering down the cheeses. As soon as we lower the cheese down, we'll go down in a ladder.
John, be careful, it's a bit slippery.
How did they used to get down here before the ladder?
If you look at this part of the cave, there is like a natural stairs.
With the cheese on the back?
With the cheese on the back.
Oh my God. And there's gates here to lock the cheese in.
This cheese is expensive, and some people may come and steal the cheese. Yeah.
Well, mate, nearly $50, 50 euros a kilo.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'd put gates on it as well.
The cheese may be super valuable, but the combination of conditions in this cave is priceless. Nature takes over as the master cheesemaker, with the perfect cool temperature, high humidity, regular airflow and mold spores creating the perfect Gammonu.
Wow, that is some serious mold. Look at the colour of it, it looks like paprika.
People, they think they add pepper to it.
Yeah.
But no, in reality, there's a fungus that the cave is adding to the cheese because of the smoking process.
Enrique is replacing 4 of the best aged cheeses with the new ones we brought with us.
And so starts their journey to penicillin.
And he's kindly going to let me try one of his precious blocks right here in the cave.
Okay, Enrique, you got to do the honours. I want the cheesemaker to cut the cheese.
Yeah.
Wow. Sensational. What a cheese. The best way to describe it really is kind of like a blue cheddar. You can see the blue vein all the way through here. The flavour is spectacular. Muy bueno.
With the day's work over, it's time to kick back, eat the rest of our hard-earned cheese and spell bread while listening to a genuine Asturian bagpiper.
Bagpipes, a little bit of sound of music from home. It's like brothers from another mother.
Today is my final day in the mountain village of Vermiego in Asturias, northern Spain. And my host, the Alvarez family, are throwing a traditional lamb roast party to say goodbye.
In Asturias, they call it cordero a la estaca. It means lamb on the sticks.
I'm told every family has their own special meat preparation, but the Alvarezes swear by the rich flavour of their village lambs, so no seasoning is involved.
So what will happen is that the lamb is going to be roasting for about 5-6 hours.
Wow.
And then first they will do one side and then the other side.
Okay. This whole construction, though, you don't cook anything else in
You
here?
don't cook anything else. Lamb
Just
on
the lamb.
sticks. It is the communal roasting place of the village.
Fantastic.
Eva's uncle, Pascual, is in charge of a secret sauce to dip the lamb in. It's called ajís and is usually made a week to a month in advance.
Wow.
It's hot. Pica.
There's alcohol in here too.
Sí, whisky, cognac.
Whiskey and cognac. It's like alcoholic chili sauce. What's in here?
So it's garlic,
Yep.
chilies,
Sí.
parsley,
Sí.
pepper,
Sí.
oregano,
Sí.
and thyme. Okay, that's the whiskey and the cognac mixed together. ¿Qué tipo de...? No.
No wonder it's so strong. I love it. It started off just a little bit, and then a little bit more, and then a little bit more, and now we'll just stick it all in. That's going to be delicious with lamb. I can almost taste it now.
While the lamb cooks for a couple more hours, I'm going to surprise the guys with a dessert using local ingredients. I'm baking a block of Gamino cheese and blending it with set milk, one of the oldest forms of fermented milk products.
So there's no sugar in this, and being a dessert, I've got these peaches. I should just see how sweet these peaches are. Rafa, do you like peaches?
Oh yeah, I love it. Yeah, quite sweet.
These are like perfectly ripe, actually.
For a bit more sweetness, I add some honey to the set milk and add a little kick with some smoked paprika.
Is there any desserts in Spain that has paprika in them?
No. None of them.
Fantastic. This is the first one.
Another first in an Asturian dessert is lamb fat. I'm adding a good wallop of it to the baked Gamino.
The colour of the mould.
Before blending the whole thing with the set milk mixture.
Eva, they're confused.
Very confused.
It's quite strange that they are using lamb's fat. They don't know how it's going to work with the sweetness of the peaches.
Tell them it's going to make it balanced. It's going to bring a richness to the dessert. So that's these peaches ready. All I've got to do, I'm going to get some honey on there, a little bit of salt, and then I'm going to roast them in the fire.
It won't take long for the peaches to cook, and just as well, the lamb is ready to serve.
Asturias lamb. Organic, cooked here by a local. I feel very lucky, Rafa. Good. The lamb is absolutely delicious. You know, most people you think, oh, you know, 5 hours, it's probably a little bit much, but because it's been cooked so perfectly, the distance away from the hot coals, you can see it's super succulent and just falling apart, not dry in the slightest. It's delicious, and that sauce is incredible. The lamb on its own is very good, but with the sauce is like one step again.
The bar has been set very high. I can only hope my Gamino cheese, set milk and peach dessert will live up to expectation.
Rafa, impresionante.
Impresionante?
O sea, es que sabe a cordero.
She's saying unbelievable. It tastes like lamb, like soft lamb.
You're very happy, look at you.
Very happy.
He wants
Another plate.
another plate.
Thank you, Pilar.
Bueno?
Bueno, muy bueno.
What do you think of it, Rafa?
I think it's amazing. Real alchemy.
From arriving on the Galician coast and spending time with Jorge, percebes, the empanadas with the cockles, but then to travel from the Galician coast all the way up here into the mountains, very, very dramatic arrival for me here in Spain, and quite different than a lot of Spanish experiences I've had. You know, they're both beautiful individually, but together as one, I think there's a lot that I can do back in a restaurant to try and mesh both of these cultures together somehow in the dinner back home. I don't quite know how I'm going to do that yet. I've got a lot to do.
Bueno. It's a bizarre feeling to be back in the city, with the sound of bagpipes and the roar of the Galician coast still fresh in my head. But there's no time to waste. I've got to come up with a Spanish-inspired dinner at my restaurant, Arana. But first, I brief head chef Shannon Fleming. Our mission for the next few hours is to somehow distill thousands of years of Galician coastal cuisine and ancient Asturian culture into a modern three-course meal. Equally crucial is that I want to show people there is a lot more to Spanish food than meets the eye.
They're going to have an expectation of, they're going to come here and they're going to go, yeah, Spanish dinner, paella or tapas.
Or even the modern Spanish sort of stuff.
We're going to have to get across the point that, you know, it's a different type of Spain.
Something that was baked into my memory was Milagros spelt bread back in Asturias.
But let's do something else than spelt bread, but spelt as a grain.
Spelt risotto.
It would be nice just to do that, actually, and cockles with that, I reckon.
I learned in both Galicia and Asturias that the art of smoking food is a deeply rooted tradition. So I'm going to smoke some fresh cockles as a tribute to both experiences.
First course?
First course. Now, empanada, right? I'm not quite sure how empanada fits in with what we do.
Zena's empanada was amazing, but it's more hearty farm food than fine dining. To stay respectful to her dish, yet excite my customers, I'm making a deconstructed version of it.
Maybe we end up doing a water pastry, but with the paprikas in it.
Okay.
Cook it, and then have it as like a crunchy crumble, like broken, so not like a sheet.
Yeah. Nice.
Dessert, got to do the cheese.
I'll never forget the painstaking process Enrique and Pilar go through daily to make gamino cheese.
Sensational.
So I'm going to create a savoury dessert with similar cheese plus spelt grain and chorizo oil.
We want a hard cheese with, you know, the sheep, goat, cow combination.
Yep.
It'd be nice to have something smoky.
To add a Galician vibe to dessert, I'm going to come up with our version of Zena's powerful queimada brew.
It's moonshine.
Yeah.
That's not grappa. They had this crazy terracotta bowl, alcohol in, coffee beans, lemon peel, and then set it on fire.
That'd be awesome out there in the restaurant to see that.
We've got a lot of work to do to pull that together, though.
The first thing we have to tick off the list before we start the menu is to pick the right cheese for dessert. Without easy access to gamino, I have to settle for alternatives.
That's San Simon, which is the smoked cheese.
It's a bit pedestrian.
Yes.
Has this got any blue vein in it, or
No.
This next one has the same triple milk combo as gamino, but the lack of blue mould might be a problem.
it's crumbly texture, but it's really creamy, huh?
I like this cheese. I like this. Is Queso Valley on?
The smells.
It smells pretty blue.
I wouldn't want that on its own.
No.
None of them seem to work on their own, but I'm wondering what will happen if I combine them.
At the very end, you get a smoky hit. That's going to be an intense finish to the meal.
With the cheese situation sorted, we can get a move on with the entree. I'm doing a spelt and cockle risotto, but the first thing I have to prepare is a red mullet stock.
And the flavour from that stock's going to be cooked all the way through into the spelt grains. Give it a beautiful flavour. What do you reckon, Shannon?
Colour of this is going to come out really nice as well.
It's sensational. Straight onto the stove, and then cover it with water, just a simmer, nothing more.
In less than an hour, the mullet stock should be ready. Plenty of time to smoke the cockles. I don't have a beautiful smokehouse like Tida or Enrique, but I do have a cold smoker downstairs that should do the trick.
The shells themselves hold a lot of flavour, so what I want to do is just get these cockles out, and I'm going to get my shells into my stock along with the red mullet just to give it a smoky edge.
Now for the spelt grains.
So this spelt is now, you know, resembling a risotto. So I'm going to add my cockles, just some wild herb. I'll adjust the seasoning, and then we'll serve. We ready? Plates up first. So I can just... That's it. Quickly.
With risotto, it's absolutely crucial to serve it as fast as possible since it dries out very quickly. This is our first dish out, so we can't take any chances.
All right, that's it.
Welcome. We have a spelt and cockle risotto.
I enjoyed the red mullet dew that really married in well with the cockles. The flavour in your mouth just was complete.
There's a graininess to the spelt which I think is really good. It kind of makes it a little bit more wholesome. It's really lovely.
One down, two to go. My next dish will prove a bigger challenge. I have to transform Zena's traditional homemade cockle empanada into a fine dining experience.
This is unlike anything that I've eaten before. I love the empanada, but it's really not something that I can serve in a restaurant. It's a bit kind of...
Street food.
It is a bit street food, yeah. These guys are sitting down, they're paying a lot of money for a dinner. It's not a street food kind of situation.
So I'm going to deconstruct the empanada, basically turning it inside out to make it more interesting.
Paprika, which was a key ingredient inside a cockle empanada, but we're going to incorporate that into the pastry instead and then turn it into a crumble over the top of it.
Since I've already used cockles in my entree, I've decided that the fish John Dory will be the seafood element in the main course.
I want him to eat the skins, so it has to be a little bit crispy. And secondly, when we flip it over, we don't want to cook it too much on the flesh sides, otherwise it spoils the integrity of the fish fillet itself. The dressing.
I'm creating a dressing of slow roasted onions, garlic and sherry vinegar to go with the dish.
They're going to macerate inside this vinaigrette. Going to give the dish a little bit of acid.
The finishing touch, some paprika pastry crumbled over the top of the fish and dressing.
I never liked a dory fish before, but now it's my favourite fish.
Fish is really buttery and delicious, and then you've got this little crunch on the top.
I'm not stopping to talk, I'm just eating.
That went surprisingly well, despite messing with a traditional recipe. To end with a bang, I want a cocktail to go with my triple cheese dessert, so I've enlisted the help of my sommelier, Josh. Zena's family introduced me to a sweet but powerful Galician brew called queimada that was blessed by a magic spell. I'm hoping some of its good luck will rub off on the Arana version.
Hydrate these corn dogs. Brightest Riesling. Smell that.
Wow.
Besides Riesling and Quandongs, a native Australian fruit, Josh's concoction contains orange peel, Queen's liquor, rum and Spanish Orojo, a great based alcohol.
Try that, it's delicious. The Quandong's giving it an amazing flavour, eh? That's going to be a super nice way to finish a meal, man.
Cocktail check, cheese check, we're on the home stretch with the chorizo oil for my savoury dessert. It sounds a little weird, but it will add a whole lot of something special.
In chorizo, there is the flavours of Spain, the paprika, the garlic, all these ingredients together on a plate. It's going to be wicked. Done there, huh? What have you put in there?
Goat's milk, cuminous and goat's cheese.
This is going to be the bottom of the cheese course. This is going to give that texture on the palate very, very nicely.
To add some crunchiness, slices of spelt crouton.
Let's try and get it all in the centre if you can.
Then a mad rush to get everything assembled.
Where's the chickweed? Missing chickweed, missing chickweed. I'd love to eat that right now. No? Hey?
Absolutely.
Doesn't look delicious. What a nice way to finish too. Big flavours, well-rounded. And Josh?
Yep, just light her up.
Go set the restaurant on fire, brother.
This isn't what you were expecting. The sweetness of the drink really goes so well with all the flavours of the cheese in your mouth.
Yeah. Having it cold and then having the drink warm there, it digests it, makes it go down really nice.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's just a very unique meal. It's not like anything Spanish I've ever eaten before, even when visiting Spain.
Chef. All positive. Everyone loved it. Different take on Spanish food. Probably were expecting tapas. Didn't happen.
Well done, boys.
Thank you.
Well done. So from the Galician coast, you know, the coast of death, all the way through to Asturias, an amazing journey, completely different experience for me. You know, only having a handful of ingredients to sustain yourself on, I'm making fantastic use of them. So for me as a chef, it was great to see how they were able to cope day-to-day life as a community and a culture, working with each other, getting the best out of those ingredients. One of the best cultures I've seen.